And welcome to another edition of the Brash and Brazen I Will Not Be Overtaken, consistent, prolific, and dedicated Sean's View Entertainment. Share, subscribe, leave your comments. Huge updates and developments, some changes about Neville. Now, some of this you've already heard of, but there's going to be updates to the situations. There is some updates that you're going to want to listen to. Now, viewers and subscribers, this coming out of the PW Insider as seen on Wrestling Inc. It was noted how multiple sources reported that Neville walked out of Monday's Raw after finding out that he would be losing the Cruiserweight Championship of the World to Enzo in the non-title main event of the show that night. The match ended up having Kalisto defeat Enzo to become the new champion, but the Wrestling Observer reports that the plan is to put the belt back on Enzo. That's an update to the situation. Possibly at the October 22nd TLC pay-per-view where he gets his rematch. Like I said, a lot of this you heard before, but there's updates to the situation. That's why I keep you in the loop and in the know. Prolific, consistent, and dedicated, you just never know. It was also reported, another update, that Neville's status with the company was up in the air, but one source close to the situation believed that he was finished. Now, in an update, PW Insider reports that the sources say that Neville never walked out on Raw, as he was never backstage at the show during any time on Monday. They also said that Neville was originally scheduled to work Enzo on weekend live events, but he was replaced. Now, according to PWI's report, the original plan of Neville versus Enzo was changed, another update, late in the day when it became known that Neville would not be at the show. They would also know that there was talk of doing the non-title match after it was mentioned that Neville couldn't receive a title shot due to the non-contract stipulation from the week before, another update. Apparently, they went with putting the title on Kalisto as a way to tie him to the legacy of WWE Hall of Famer Eddie Guerrero, as it was Eddie's birthday. Kalisto did make a tweet dedicating the win to Eddie and Rey Mysterio. Plus, it was mentioned on Raw and in backstage Fallout video. Kalisto even received a congratulatory tweet from Rey Mysterio, which has got a lot of people talking about Rey Mysterio and WWE. We'll talk about that in another video. But other sources, there's just a tremendous amount of updates on Neville. It's almost ridiculous. Other sources report that Neville was pushed for a release from the company with the idea going to the Indies and making a name for himself outside of WWE, similar to what Drew McIntyre did before he returned to NXT. PWI adds that Neville is still in the contract to the company and has not been released as of this writing. However, WWE officials are not factoring the King of the Cruiserweights into any Cruiserweight division plans for the time being, but it is possible that the two sides, and this is something you probably already have, come to terms when he returns to action. So there's still a glimmer of hope. There are still some people that are under the assumption that Neville could return under the bright lights of the WWE. Neville is also not booked for any upcoming live events or TV events, but of course, the Dirt Sheets, newsletters, and Sean's View Entertainment will keep you updated on his status. Now, if Neville can make a name for himself and reestablish himself and readjust, because Neville, obviously, if he's leaving the WWE and he gets his release, you know that the WWE are going to make sure that he's not competing for like 60 days with that non-compete clause. He's going to have to wait till that's up. But Neville would still be red hot on the indie scene because, he just had a red hot run with the WWE for the better part of a year, maybe a little bit more than that. Neville really came into his own. Neville made some great adjustments. The WWE creative team, they gave this guy, and I can't really say too much because, they did push Neville. Neville had, he can't look back and say, oh, it was terrible. I know he was having some hard times at the end with merchandise and losing, and he wasn't too happy with creative. But there was times when Austin wasn't, happy with creative, quite frankly. There's been multiple times where superstars didn't agree with a certain direction. So, you can't put all this on creative. Enzo, I understand. Listen, it's a hard thing. It's tough. But if Neville thinks leaving the WWE and it will be better, it'll be greener pastures somewhere else, well then, all the more power to him. I wish Neville nothing but the best. So viewers and subscribers, your comments and your opinions on Neville's status and all that we just heard. So right now, viewers, the big thing I took out of this is that they were going to put the title back on Enzo, knowing that Kalisto just won the title. So I guess the Cruiserweight title is going to be like a hot potato, and there's no long-term plans for that Cruiserweight title until the WWE knows if they can get Neville back in the company. Share and subscribe. More to come from the Brash One.